Coming up on your Hawkeye Sports Report, the men's and women's basketball teams each get big road wins last week. We'll look back at those wins and also take a look at what's up next for both squads.
I'm Matt Nelson in Stillwater, Oklahoma. Iowa, Oklahoma State, the big wrestling duel. We'll have highlights.
And both the men's and women's track teams open their indoor season in Iowa City in impressive fashion. We'll take a look at some of the bright spots coming up in the Hawkeye Sports Report. Welcome inside another edition of the Hawkeye Sports Report. Plenty of success has surrounded itself among the winter sports teams thus far. One team that endured a brutal open to the conference schedule was a men's basketball team. They entered this last week in search of its first conference win. After losing a heartbreaker at home to Michigan State on Thursday, they hit the road to Northwestern on Sunday and finally got the monkey off their back and got their first conference win of the season in a 20-point rout of the Wildcats. Sophomore Aaron White led all scorers with 17 points. Josh Oglesby also seemed to find his touch, knocking down 4 threes in the game, and Melson Basabi continued his consistent play off the bench with 11 points. They now have the entire week off to prepare for the Wisconsin Badgers, who come to town on Saturday night, and the team knows its defensive effort it displayed in Sunday's game at Northwestern will have to be in full force again against the Badgers team looking for some revenge after Iowa knocked them off both times last season.
You know, I'm not as concerned about patience as I am we want to get a good shot. You know, you can get a good shot 5-6 seconds into the shot clock. If it's a good shooter taking a good shot, if he's open, shoot it. Patience doesn't always equate to we got a good shot that time. We just ran the clock down. Might get a worse shot than you had 13 seconds ago. So I think against them, it's good shots that have a chance to go in.
Slow down, you still got to look to push the pace.
We are, and I think they're looking to push it a little bit more than they have. And I think Jackson's involved in that. You know, they're pushing the ball. I mean, they've got guys that can run. They're not afraid to go a little bit more. I mean, the scores would indicate they're still kind of where they were, but they're a little bit more than an opportunistic running team than they've been in the past.
Yeah, it seems like there's always something. You know, these two schools are so close together. There's always sort of conflicts between the schools in terms of recruiting. They recruit a lot of guys around this area. So, but we know that's it's kind of get above that. It doesn't hold much weight once the game starts.
Coming into our place, they're coming in hot, being the second-ranked team in the nation. So I mean, we got to play well, and it's gonna be a fun test for us. Yeah, I mean, obviously Wisconsin won the game because they slowed it down and played their style. So I mean, we got to kind of do different things than what Indiana did against them, and I mean, we beat them twice last year, so we're going to try to take that blueprint away from it and try to incorporate that on Saturday.
I think we have enough that, we're going in intending to win. I think we have a lot of talent on our front line as well. And, pretty much now conference, this is like the best part because I know these teams in and out. I know me being a junior, so I'm not really surprised by anything.
The Iowa men's basketball team returns 8 lettermen, including 3 starters, from a team that made its first postseason appearance in 6 years last season. The Hawkeyes now welcome in a nationally ranked recruiting class of 5 talented freshmen. The Hawks are on the rise. Order your Big Ten single game tickets today. Call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com.
The women's basketball team also hit the road last Thursday looking to bounce back from their nail-biting loss to Michigan. And just like last season, sophomore point guard Sam Logic shined in her home state of Wisconsin, coming 1 assist shy of a triple-double. An Iowa 65-56 win. Morgan Johnson continued her impressive play on the season, leading all scorers with 23 points. She also pulled down 11 rebounds. Jamie Prinny chipped in 10 points, helping Iowa to move to 13-4 on the season. The team had the weekend off where they shifted their focus to Michigan State. Iowa will travel to East Lansing Thursday night for a big-time showdown with the Spartans. Iowa has won 4 of the last 5 meetings against Michigan State, with the 1 loss coming in East Lansing 2 years ago. Iowa feels like having that little extra time to prepare for the Spartans could pay dividends come Thursday night.
Michigan State, we know, is going to be a tough battle. They've only lost, a couple of times throughout the year. They're very solid on their home floor. We've had some good success against them the last few years. In fact, I think we're 4-1 against them in the last 3 years. But only one of those games has been at East Lansing. We've played them either at home or in the Big Ten tournament on a neutral floor.
Yeah, it's been really nice to have the bye week, not only to be able to prepare for Michigan State, but also to get our legs back underneath us, to kind of rejuvenate and focus on our defense a little bit. So, yeah, our bye week's been awesome.
Yeah, I definitely do. I think that having more practices than usual really help us out getting prepared for whatever they do on offense and defense. And I think that even having our couple of days off will help with energy and coming back stronger and harder.
Well, I think that this week would be a really good week to get our win back from losing at home against Michigan. We have won, Coach Bluter said, 4 of the last 5 against Michigan State, but haven't won there in a while. So it'd be a really huge road win, especially to avenge our home loss.
Big week for us with Michigan State and then Purdue at home. And we all know, Purdue sitting at the top of the Big Ten, and their only 2 losses in the whole year have been Connecticut and at Notre Dame. So I don't think those are 2 bad losses by any means. And but we've had some good success against Purdue on our home court, and we need to take that confidence into this week.
Let's now check out this week's Plays of the Week.
The first play of the week is from Madison as Sam Logic comes up with the steal and leads the fast break. That unto itself is nothing new. But how about the pass between the legs of Marion, Iowa native Morgan Page to Tiara Taylor for the bucket? Also from the road, Evanston this time, Melson Basabi takes it right at and past Mike Turner of the Wildcats for a thunderous jam in Iowa's road victory over Northwestern. And speaking of jams, this one is similar to Basabi's, but it comes from across the pond. Check out former Hawkeye Matt Gatens in Spain. It may not be soccer, but when it comes to Spanish sports, there's only one thing to do: turn up the volume.
Matt Gatens recibiendo, sigue Gatens, intenta penetrar, sigue Gatens, mate, a una mano, primero superó John Cortaberría y luego por encima de Mohamed Saer Sené, matazo de Matt Gatens.
We fight, fight, fight every day in the gym. We're going to fight, fight, fight every game on the court. Will you fight, fight, fight with us in Carver this season? This is Hawkeye Women's Basketball. Get your season tickets now. Call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com.
The Iowa wrestling team really had yet to be tested this season heading into Sunday's duel at Oklahoma State. Both teams entered the duel undefeated, and of course someone has to lose. Hawkeye Sports Report's Matt Nelson was in Stillwater and has the highlights.
Number 2 Oklahoma State, number 4 Iowa. 57 team national championships between the two. It doesn't get much bigger than this. A crowd of 5,500 came to Gallagher Iba Arena Sunday afternoon for the Hawks and Pokes. Pistol Pete on hand, as well as billionaire T. Boone Pickens Matt side. Top-ranked 125-pounder Matt McDonough started things for the Hawkeyes. McDonough used 3 takedowns to score a 10-4 decision. McDonough has won 38 straight matches. At 133, a top 5 matchup between number 2 Tony Ramos and number 5 John Morrison. There was only 1 takedown in this match, and that came at the 154 mark of the first period. Ramos wins a tight one, 3-2, with the third period escape. 141 pounds, 10th-ranked Mark Ballweg against Keokuk, Iowa native Julian Fikert. Ballweg, a takedown in each period, takes him to an 8-3 win. The Cowboys score their first team points at 149 pounds as top-ranked Jordan Oliver defeated Michael Kelly in a 10-4 decision. Oliver has not been taken down this season. A top 10 matchup at 157 pounds. Top-ranked Derek St. John improves to 13-0 on the year with an 8-4 victory, giving Iowa a 12-3 lead. But it would be the last victory for Iowa Sunday. A good battle between third-ranked Tyler Caldwell of Oklahoma State and number 18 Nick Moore at 165. Tied at 1 in the third period, Caldwell with the takedown, and then Moore with the escape. Tom Brands wants it reviewed. He and Cowboys head coach John Smith exchanged pleasantries. The call upheld, and Caldwell wins 3-2. One of the most anticipated matchups, number 1 Chris Perry at 174 pounds and number 4 Mike Evans, who was on a big roll after last weekend. Perry scores an early takedown and wins with a minute 19 of riding time, 4-3. The match that provided a bit of a surprise came at 184 pounds. With a minute 13 left, Chris Chinuma scores a takedown and upsets Ethan Lofthouse 3-2 in a tight one. The duel tied at 12 points. At 197, Blake Roscholt takes down Nathan Burak with 20 seconds remaining for a 3-2 win. And Bobby Telford drops a 7-3 decision at heavyweight. Oklahoma State defeats Iowa 18-12. Iowa falls to 12-1 on the season. In Stillwater, Matt Nelson, Hawkeye Sports Report.
Probably the finishing and one-point matches and being in situations where you can do it or don't do it. And we didn't do it.
If you knew how I felt coming off that mat, you would know that there was no moral victories, you know. It's just another loss, and to be honest with you, there's not really a lot of good to come out of that match other than to know that I'm right there with guys that are ranked that high, you know. So I got to learn to get in on my shots and learn to score.
I can tell you I don't think we dwell on it either way, and we didn't dwell on it this weekend. We came back to Iowa, and we're getting ready for a Michigan trip.
Thanks a lot, Matt. Let's now take a look at this week's Player of the Week.
Junior Ashlyn Golvis is off to a good start in the 2013 track and field season. Saturday at the Iowa Open in the UI Recreation Building, Golvis won the women's weight throw title. Not only did she win it, but her top throw set a school record at 60 feet, 7 3/4 inches. Ashlyn Golvis, the Hawkeye Sports Report Player of the Week.
After months of anticipation, the fuel inside us rises. All of our training and devotion has prepared us for this. We stand as one team in black and gold. This is Iowa Wrestling. Secure your season tickets today. Call 1-800-IA-HAWKS or visit HawkeyeSports.com.
Two other athletic teams marked their season openers this past weekend in Iowa City. Let's start with the women's gymnastics team, who opened their season by hosting Ball State in Carver Hawkeye Arena. The team was led by Maya Wickus, who took first place on both the vault and in the bars. Jessica Morial tied for first place on the beam. Iowa also took the top 4 spots on floor, with freshman Kyra Trowbridge earning first place honors. Iowa defeated Ball State 193.375 to 193.125. Definitely a nail-biter there.
Yeah, we started off with a win, great confidence booster that way. It's going to be helpful for us that we saw this meet and opened up with it and got it out of our systems, because now we know how the lineups are going to work, how people are going to have to work on each other and help each other, and what you need to say. And I think that was just like the biggest thing that helped us with this meet, and we're just going to keep learning from here, and you're going to see great things from this team this year.
The men's and women's track teams also opened their indoor season over the weekend. Plenty of bright spots on the day as both teams combined to earn 13 first-place finishes. Some of the bright spots included junior Ashlyn Golvis, who set the school record in the weight throw to open the meet. Freshman Clivens Delani jumped to a first-place finish in the long jump. Sophomore Gabe Hull earned first place in the shot put. And the Iowa women took the top 3 spots in the pole vault. And Iowa also came in first place in both the men's and women's 60-meter dash. Josh Larney and Lake Quaza earned those titles for the men's and women's teams. Of course, that's not all of them. For a full list of the results, check out HawkeyeSports.com.
I was kind of expecting it, not trying to be cocky or anything, but Coach kind of said, like, this is your race, you can do it. And I was kind of like, okay, Coach, I've done this a million times, I can do it, I can win.
It's definitely, it's always good to win, and it's definitely good to win with a PR. So, this early in the season is always a good thing.
Let's now wrap up the Hawkeye Sports Report with a look at what's to come in Hawkeye athletics. As we said, the women's basketball team will head to East Lansing Thursday night to take on Michigan State. That game can be seen on the Big Ten Network. Tip-off slated for 5 o'clock Central Time. The team will also have a big-time matchup on Sunday as number 12 ranked Purdue comes to Carver Hawkeye Arena. Fans, be sure to wear your white, as it will be the annual whiteout game. That game can also be seen on the Big Ten Network. Tip-off coming at 3 p.m. The wrestling team will have 2 duels on the road over the weekend in the state of Michigan. They'll be at Michigan at 6 p.m. Friday night and at Michigan State at 1 p.m. on Sunday. The men's and women's swimming teams will also be back in the pool for the first time since before Christmas. The men's team will head to Indiana to take on the Hoosiers and the Ohio State Buckeyes. The women's team will head to Illinois to take on the Fighting Illini. The women's gymnastics team will compete in their first conference duel of the year. They will travel to Ohio State Saturday at 3 p.m. The men's gymnastics team will open their season this weekend in Chicago at the Windy City Invite. That will take place Saturday night at 7:30. And the women's tennis team will kick off their season as they will head to some warmer weather and take on Florida State Saturday, FURMAN on Sunday, and Florida on Monday down in sunny Orlando, Florida. The track team will also hit the road this weekend. They'll be competing at the ADIDAS Invite in Lincoln, Nebraska. And last but not least, the men's basketball team will host Wisconsin Saturday night at 7 p.m. right here in Iowa City. That game can be seen on the Big Ten Network. Also important to note that the team will be honoring the passing of former player Chris Street at the game. It has been 20 years since the passing of Street. Plenty of family, friends, and former teammates will be on hand for what is sure to be an emotional night. Let's hope the team can give the Street family a big W come Saturday evening. And the men's team will also be back on the road Tuesday at Ohio State at 5:30 p.m. That game will also be televised on the Big Ten Network. That's all the time we have for this week's Hawkeye Sports Report. Be sure to check out HawkeyeSports.com over the weekend for complete recaps, photos, and videos of everything Hawkeye Sports. Have a great weekend.